that was disgusting enough. That my thumbnail picture there. So here it is Tuesday, and it is David Bowie's birthday. Happy birthday, David Bowie. Happy birthday, David Bowie. Happy birthday, David Bowie. Happy birthday, David Bowie. So I'm at the library, and I just had a very interesting conversation. I spent my last penny yesterday because I had a flat tire. One of you adepts sent me a nice little present on Western Union, and anyone who wants to, please, because I'm living like Blanche Bouvier in Streetcar Named Desire from the kindness of strangers. And but you, my adepts, are not a stranger to me. So I was at breakfast, and I was going to do a live chat at my breakfast place, but they don't always have music on, but this time they did. And the last time they did, the guys at YouTube nixed it because you had the music on. So I can't do any of this with any kind of background, except things like that. So I was coming back, and I felt pretty good. I had all of $60 in my pocket. And then I was on this road, and I, heard that slap, 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 slap. And I knew, there's a little gizmo on my dashboard that says if I'm getting a flat tire, but it didn't. So I said, no, there's something wrong with this tire. Got it. So I drove 12 miles. We're going flap, 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 flap to the Firestone. And I pulled in, and then I went in and said, I got something wrong with my tire. And they said, oh, well, we can't help you until next Thursday of next week. What? I said, oh, yeah, we're booked up solid. You can't, I said, I can't. I got it, I said, okay, I'll just, camp out here until next Thursday. And they kind of looked at me strangely. And I went and sat, in the circle of all these people who are having their cars fixed. And they all were like, oh, how am I going to pay this? Oh, this is my last payday. Oh, and there was two people there who worked for the federal government that were on, they weren't working for no money. They just weren't working. And they worked for the, IRA and, or the IRS. Well, maybe the same. No, the IRA is has more integrity. Anyway, so I'm there, and I started talking to everyone and got them to all talking, and they were all different people, and they normally would have scowled at each other and thought, that's a different tribe than me. I can't talk to that. Well, I got them all talking. Then I said, and some people were sick, and some people didn't feel good. I said, do you guys ever meditate? And so I had everyone hold hands, and I started having them all meditate. Now, the manager of this Firestone, I know well, because that's where I get my car serviced, and I've known him since he was just got a job there. So he knows me. I've read his palm and showed him how to meditate and stuff like that. So he comes over and he goes, oh, what are you doing? I go, well, I'm going to have to stay here until next Thursday. So I'm just going to elevate your store up into the Akashic record. Please, don't do that. I'll find somebody to fix your tire, okay? I said, okay. So I kind of brought everyone back, and they felt so much better, so great, so everything. And we just started talking more. And then, within, 20 minutes, they got everyone out the door, and they had fixed my tire. And like magic, they had done like 15 hours worth of work in 40 minutes, which meant that those guys were just, not doing much until I started to levitate their Firestone store. Anyway, so I got home, but I was, I said, what's this going to cost me? And the guy, he did everything he could, every kind of break, he said, well, it should cost $200, right? So anyway, he started, picking away at it, and he got it down to $62. And I opened my wallet, And I took everything out of my wallet, and I had exactly $62. So, my tire, got a new tire on my car. My car works a little better. It doesn't shimmy as much because my tires are getting a little bald. And it needs a little of this and a little of that. But I don't, now I have zero money. Anyway, he also, not only did he fix my tire for $62 because he turned the engine on and saw that it had like virtually no gas. He actually filled my gas tank up. I mean, this guy's a nice guy. So anyway, so I drove up to the school, and John was John, and wanted to know how I was going to pay his bills and da-da-da-da, but he was not as, angsty. He was, not happy, but because he wants to be back with his family, which if you go to his channel, he will tell you this a million times. So I am not spilling the beans on anything. And I, as your Sensei Al Bob, that's one of the things that I'm very good at, is not spilling the beans. I'll tell the story that the Griot tells, but I won't tell people your stuff, your data. I'm not like Facebook. Anyway, so I got up this morning because John got up and he rumbling around, and I said, I'll just get out early. So I left around, I got down the hill about 8 p.m., 8 a.m., 8:50, something like that. Somewhere in that neighborhood. And I got to the library, and I'm kind of spread out, and I was taking my books out. And what did I find stuck in my book, at the bottom of my magic bag, was $40, a 20 and 2 10s. And I knew it wasn't, I didn't put it there. I got a pretty good memory, And I would have remembered that. I would have been thinking, oh, I have no money. And there it was. So that'll last until one of you send something, or somebody comes through, or I open up another book and find and that's how it works. And that's how the universe works. We live in not a world of austerity, but in a world of abundance. So I'm told, I hadn't eaten anything for breakfast and was pushing on to 11, and that's at this library. That's when the coffee shop there really doesn't have too many people. So I go down there, and there are these two people down there. This guy probably in his 90 to maybe 35, something like that, and a woman, she's probably 50 something, not quite 60, and she was very talkative and da 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 da. And I looked at the guy, and he was very quiet, right? I looked at him energetically. I said, well, this is either her autistic son, or he just doesn't want to really talk to this woman. And so, he's just saying the very least, like what he wants from the guy, right? Anyway, so I go, okay. And how I have these little litmus tests of who and what people are. And you folks, you the cadre, you have tasted my skills. Anyway, so what do? I kind of go into state, create a energetic field, a shamanic energetic field, and then I sense what this woman is, and I go, oh, she's a kind of liberal, guilty Christian. Okay. She scared of the world. Her worldview every day is being tested. And so she has stuck her head in the sand. Now this other guy, he's a mystery. Obviously he is not her autistic son, but he's the interesting one. So I kind of just, a little space. I mean, this woman is just jabbering away to the guy behind the counter, not giving an order or taking money or doing anything business-wise, just talking. And this guy behind the counter, he was happy enough to jabber back. He's like a younger version of her, but his worldview hasn't been crushed yet. So they make energetically, I kind of put a little wedge. They kind of get out of the way. I walk straight up and go, I want. And then I start doing little circles going, I want, I start dancing to me singing, I want. And then just when the guy is somewhat flustered, I stop and then talk very businesslike. I want a, you know, club sandwich on dark rye, toasted well. I want to, I just go tick down, very businesslike, want this, and he goes right to business. All right. Which is totally, disconnected him from the flotsam and jetsam conversation he's been having with this woman. I have to put my hood up. I'm right by the window. It's starting again. Anyway, so he goes off and she's there. And then I look at them and I start doing my little dance of, being an autistic guy. And she's like, huh. And then I stop and I go, look out there. And they're like spraying the skies with chemtrails. I go, look at that. That's chemtrails. And she goes, no, that's the sky. But I mean, it's like a tapestry, like a herringbone jacket. And she goes, what's, I said, no, chemtrails. Look, chemtrails. It's going to kill you. You'll be dead by 2025. She was like, what? She goes, oh, end times. She goes, oh, I know about the end times. They're coming soon. I know. I'm one of the 10,000. Well, no, you're just trash. And she goes, what? I goes, yes, you're trash. You're a useless eater. And then I start using all of the terminology of the Agenda 21. I start telling you about Agenda 21 and how California was, energy, spiked by this. And so I'm looking at this guy, and this guy is like, energetically, I said, well, this guy knows all this. But he knows more than just that he saw it on a YouTube. Anyway, so I'm going like this, and she's like freaking out because I'm just telling her everything. She believes in end times, but end times not going to happen until she's ready to go. Not 2000. When I said you'll be dead by 2025, and she said, what? I said, yeah, Agenda 21. 98% of the American population will be dead by that, and it's going to start off with a power, EMP from either the sun or Korea or somebody that'll fry every chip in North America, and there will be no electricity, period, and people will starve together, and start chewing on each other's legs. It'll be worse than any zombie movie. Zombie movies, oh, they scare me so much. I said, well, that's going to be the everyday girl, and I just went full bore straight into her psyche of fear. And then she was like, and I said, but, and she goes, there's a but? I said, yes. The one thing that will ameliorate all this is love. I said, you know what love is? She goes, oh yes, it's Jesus Christ. He will come again. I said, he's already here. And you're right. And I said, I don't believe in any of the stuff I just told you. I don't believe in anything. She, you don't believe in anything? Not even, I said, all I have is faith in Jesus Christ's unconditional love. And she was like, that's what I believe in. And she kind of grabbed my little sleeve and, we believe in that, don't we? I said, oh, yes. And then she ran away. I got to answer my dogs, I got to, no. She ran out of there. And then the guy looks at me and goes, wow, you did that, didn't you? I said, He goes, I need to talk to you. And that's when the guy delivers my sandwich. Says, well, hey, you want to sit over here and talk? Well, we just talked for the last hour and a half. And he's from Ireland. He's traveled all over the place. He's been well educated. He's like a junior, 35-year-old version of me without having, he's had a lot of luck, but he's let it ride. I mean, I was always ready to jump into the most interesting thing. And he is now at that point where he's like, I've let it ride and it served me well. And at a place where, and so whatever thing he did, and when he told me, he said, "Well, I really can't talk about those experiences." So I said, "Fine." I said, "What are you doing now?" He goes, he used some very, interesting term, again, that I can't use, but basically, to say the least, he's one of those guys, an entrepreneur. And I said, "So you're an entrepreneur, kind of like John Perkins?" And he goes, "Economic hitman." I said, "Yeah, I was one of those. You guys should go read John Perkins' Economic Hitman. You know, you would get another little perspective of your sensei, Al Bob." And so we talked about all those kind of experiences. We were like, I don't want to say we were trying to outdo each other, but we were entertaining each other. Yep, great book. Hey there, Mr. Ink. And it's David Bowie's birthday, right? And tonight we're going to have a really great David Bowie birthday party out there in Shambhala, and then going to finish up at the Old Crone's Dance Hall. It's going to be fun. Spread the word. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there or be square. But it'll be on the old YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch it at your own leisure. And those have been taking part of these YouTubes and watching them like it's live. It is live. You can get all of the energetics, all of the spiritual, all of the experience of going into state. You don't have to watch it live to get it, to get the juice. The juice is there. And that's what I'm using this technology for, to spread that juice, because that's the only thing that is going to be able to assist us, is that juice. Yep. Exactement. Oh, well, he just alluded. We were talking about trends and how to look at things, and the places he was at, And he was at a lot of the places I was at, but he wasn't, I would stay there a while. He went there on assignment and then had to go someplace else. Me, I was, even when I was working for somebody, I was still footloose and fancy free. But, if I liked someplace, I'd stay there a month, two, a year, 2 years, 3 years. I was never held by, I did what the universe wanted me to do, even if I didn't know what to do. So that was the bottom line of that one. But he was an interesting guy. And I wanted to take him up here and, do a live chat with him, but he said, "No, I can't do that." I said, "Well, look at me." He said, "Well, I'm not as old as you, or as brave as you, or as funny as you." And I said, "Well, okay. You'll grow into it." But he was a fellow traveler, an interesting man. So, and I gave him my card, and I said, "Hey, you should, catch the chat." And there are a lot of folks, that of the 200, there are a lot of folks that interesting. And then there are a lot of people, how did I get almost, I'm probably over 20,000 views, right? How did I get that in such a short time? And I only have, 230 or 40 cadre. It's because there's a lot of people watching who aren't hitting that subscribe button. They come and watch it, they take notes. They know that it's there, They edit the things they don't want there. They interrupt when I'm about to say something, but they're there because they're saying, this is an interesting crew. Actually, we're going to, at some point, support them, or try to co-opt them, or try to buy them off, or any of the above. And they could do all of those things, and it still wouldn't matter. We would still be the cadre, just as our brother explained what Shambhala was last night. That was probably the best explanation of who we are. So we are members of Shambhala. Yeah, covert operative. Yeah, there are more than a few, that's for sure. It's like, when you live in, North, Korea or Soviet Russia or anywhere, if you live in the corporate world, well, if you live in D.C. and have anything to do with that world, what do you think? I mean, I'm sure Kevin Spacey's as creepy as, he's led to believe. I mean, just looking at him, he's that. But I would say, House of Cards got a little too close to the picture and too popular. Meaning, if it was something just kind of, oh, look at that, and didn't really, go viral, they would have left Kevin Spacey alone. Because see, that's one of the problems. Once you start to go viral like that, you start thinking that you're really whoop-de-doo, instead of being the humble Sensei Al Bob, So I'm just here to have a good time, I'm just here to help. I'm just here to serve. What makes me happy is when I make you guys happy. And I've been I mean, a lot of people would look at my life right now, oh, isn't that terrible? You're so sick. You have no money. You're like one anger rage to be out on the street and wow, it's so bad. Oh no. I got you guys, and John is a good man. I would love to see John to become what he could become, what he really is, what he's down deep. And I've tried for 2 years to help him in every way and every day. And it's challenging. And I'm at last year, I spent most of the year not living there. Pretty much he threw me out December 26, 2017. And for the year of 2018, between the new year and October 13th, 2018, I stayed 26 nights there. Now, from October 13 on, I spent a lot more nights as I've stayed here. I roll. Jamie, I would say that there's probably a 70% chance of that being it. I mean, virtually everything we see going on in the media, et cetera, is a setup. It's a red flag of some sort or another. Not every red flag is, taking down the World Trade Center. There are a lot of little ones that just do that little, magic thing that needs to be done for this to happen. Like when you look at, shamanic or alchemical processes, there's a lot of different things that go into them. It's not just like bingo. It's a whole bunch of things. It's like when you saw the queen, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the prettiest of them all? And she's always getting a facelift and a new, hat, and it's always Snow White. So, that anger, that rage comes out, and what does she turn into? Who is she really under all that makeup but the old hag? And she takes a apple out of a box that, has been, that's like one of the fruit of the tree of knowledge, but it is spoiled so much. And then she paints it with this potion that she's been bubbling up for the last year and a half. And she doesn't dunk it, she paints it on. And if you look at the pattern that she paints on, it's a Sitchin. I mean, Disney was 100% a magician, I mean, the magic land, And, Mickey Mouse with, the brooms. Do, 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 do. And that's the world of the illusion that we live in, that our avatar is here, that we are the mud puppet. But not our soul, not our consciousness. That's in the elevated sense, Covert operative, yes, yes. Contribution to the work, as it's known as the inner Kabbalah. Yep, exactly. The crone would be one of those behind the scenes in the spiritual hierarchy to balance the scales. Yep, exactly. That's why I keep saying there is no good or bad. There is just the illusion and then the momentary imbalance, right? And my job in this, I was sent here, and no matter how many times I die, I'm not going anywhere until I finish what I came here to do. And I try to ignore that every now and then. I try to play the fool, the entertainer, the artist, the scientist. But I just, get myself in a place where, well, okay, you're gonna die, and when you come back, you'll hurt. It'll be worse, but you're not going anywhere. And if you step up to what you came here for, well, then we'll make that uncomfortable thing not as uncomfortable. So right now, yes, every morning I wake up, oh, I'm not feeling that great. My eyesight. You see me wearing, look at all the different glasses I have to wear to see. you know, and once in, and if I just kind of not stay awake like Buddha, I get a flat tire or speeding ticket and then those things can like make me fearful, but I can't be fearful, you know. So I have to really laugh at all of this. Yes, that was a good Mr. Ink exactement. And see, guys, what Mr. Ink is putting down here. You've all put down some pretty amazing things, but you lose track. You kind of go unconscious. You get into the fun of it all, and it is fun. It's supposed to be fun. To move on, exactamundo, and not to get stuck in anything. There are a lot of you folks out there who are great, have some amazing insights, but you kind of get a little stuck. And so do I. I mean, and that's when I get a nail in the tire or a speeding ticket. It's live instantaneous. My ascended masters who are chuckling as they pull my strings and know that, okay, every time he goes unconscious, every time he goes off where he's supposed to be, we're just going to pull this little string and this is going to happen. I mean, it was amazing. The thing that got me in the tire was this metal plate that had a spike in it. And no matter which way that thing was, my tire would flip the metal plate over and cause it to rip a gigantic hole in my tire. It was, sometimes you run over a board and it's got a nail in it. Well, 1 in 360, that nail's going to get in your tire. The way this thing was, it was 100% sure that was going to rip my tire apart. It was like, really? Yep. But it's okay. I got you guys. I mean, 92% of the time, I'm always awake. I'm always happy. Like I found, 30 something dollars in a book that I knew no money was there. I could have a nice sandwich. I went down, had a nice sandwich, and had this great conversation with my new friend. That, everything I talked about to that lady, he knew exactly. He had been part of somehow. And he understood exactly what you said, about, no good or bad experience, and exactly only experience eventually in love, no matter how gross it becomes, consciousness is detached in love. I mean, that's where this guy was. And he realized he lived in the, you know, this world, and he had to, he had people in his life he wanted to help, and so he knew he had to use his skill set, but he was trying to do it in the most ethical kind of way, rather than, just like the hitman, the economic hitman, And at a certain point, he got out of that biz and started to write his books. But I read his book, and then in the little town I was in, he was coming to the bookstore, so I said, I got to talk to this guy. And so I did. It was just like, this, meeting this guy. There was a big, oh, and I just kind of stood there and waited till everyone left, and then said, hey, let's have a cup of coffee. And we talked and talked and talked. And he spent another couple of days because he had the money. He was staying in a nice hotel. And, I showed him around and showed him things. And we talked and talked and talked. And when we got to be at a point of where we could say things to each other, where he wouldn't get, you know, incensed, I said, so, you know, I read your book. I read all your books. And I read them a couple of times. And I energetically looked at you at that age, and you could have bailed from that at any time. And you were telling yourself, well, you're one of the good guys, but every deal you made caused governments to fall and thousands of people to die, and you just kept putting the money in the bank. Now, I understand that. Well, I had worked within the structure a bit, but I hadn't worked for the corporate world. I hadn't worked for the desperate lawyers yet. I wasn't swimming in the swimming pool of chocolate mousse. I was still my scholarly self when I met John Boy, Mr. Economic Hitman. And so the question I asked him, when I knew that I could ask it to him, I said, so, you're just a hypocrite. Now you're writing these books because you feel guilty, and you're taking it all the way to the bank because you know how to milk other people's guilt. And first he got mad and didn't say, he just kind of got that look on his face. And then he said, well, you're right. But as you told me a few times already, there's no good or bad. And as long as I try to every day in every way to get better, I said, that's right. And that's why I just didn't hit you with a chair when I first met you. And in those days I could have. I was in pretty good shape when he first wrote that first book. I guess that was that in the 90s or early O's, but I really didn't hit the skids until 2008, 2000. I started working for the Desperate Lawyers in 2009, but I was working in the corporate world as the scholar starting in 2002, and because I wanted access to certain things, and I liked living like a millionaire and not having to be one, And it was, that 18 years, from 2000 till today, I'm on the other side of it, but not really, I'm dealing with the ramifications of it and stepping up. So, but I can't say there's a single day that I felt bad about what I was doing because, I came after the scene and I just tried to make it a little better and make, when I was exposed to these people, I didn't deal with the monetary or the military or the political or the legal. I dealt with the shamanic. And I was trying to make those people better people so they would make better decisions on the other side. Well, the ones who that stuck with, they quit and got themselves an island someplace. And the ones who didn't, they kind of got schizophrenic. Who and what book? The book we're talking about is The Economic Hitman by, what's his name? John Perkinson. Perkinson. Yep, exactly, kiddo. And that's why I decided to stop putting it off. Because if I had, I could have stayed in the swimming pool of chocolate mousse, but boy, I would have been like Mr. Creosote in Monty Python's Meaning to Life. But I still wouldn't. I mean, I was almost 500 pounds. I'm my swarthy 230 right now. And I'm by next when you see me in person, I'm gonna be my high school weight of 175. Yep, John Perkinson. Yep, okay. Yep, that's the boy. And he's written a lot of books, and he wrote them after he made his millions and after he retired, and he could have quit at any time and blown the whistle when it might have been important, because when he wrote those books, everyone kind of knew what was going on, if not literally, then energetically. But pretty much up until 9/11, everyone was kidding themselves, you know? I mean, that we could live through that we could live through the Spanish American War, World War One, World War Two, Vietnam War, Korean War, all the other wars. Yes, he worked for the IMF and other banking entities, but he was exactly what he said he was. He was the economic hitman. He went in there before he scoped it out. He was like Saint Patrick. Saint Patrick allegedly chased the snakes out of Ireland. No, what it was the Roman Empire conquered everything, and so look at this little island. We'll go in, and they sent in legion after legion, and they never returned. They just never came back. They didn't even get the general's head in a basket. They just never came back. That never happened to the Roman. So St. Patrick said, I think I can figure this out. Or do you need a legion? He said, no, just me. I'm just going to go in myself. And he was a spy. A spy. He was an economic hitman. He went in there. He studied. Who did he study? The Druids. So it was a Druidic culture. And it had its own economy. And he studied it, and he learned how to destroy it. And that's what he did. And those were the snakes he ran out of Ireland. And then this was right around when Rome was rebranding itself into the Holy Roman Empire. And they used Ireland as their test bed on how to destroy a culture. Yep. Yep, a ring of debt. Just look at Africa, I mean, every country in Africa that had any kind of resources is like history of war, despots, and just destruction. Every country in Africa that has nothing, they left alone and let those people grow their native foods and develop their own native economies, and they're the ones who have peace, haven't had wars, don't have, the diseases. They don't let the World Health Organization come in and immunize everybody. And like it's just like the Nazis. The first place the Nazis invaded was Germany, and that's the same with the United States. The corporate structure. We are before they started, taking out the rest of the world by bringing KFC to it. I mean, the biggest thing we've done to China to destroy it is bring it fast food. Those people are, they'll work a whole day so they can get a bucket of KFC, So, and their food is really yummy. I love Chinese food. So, 39 minutes and 19 seconds. How about that? And so, it's David Bowie's birthday. And this is the morning chat that is now probably in the afternoon. Confessions of Economic Hitman. Yep. John Perkins. Yep. Perkins. Yep. Yep. Lend cash to despots, and when they bring on the debt, it's paid with land and resources and industry and slavery. IMF owns 2/5 of the world. It's all good. It's not important, really. Not really in the great game, our game of becoming love. This is true. Like I said, there's no good or bad. You know, the only thing that truly exists is love's co-creation. Now, I'm an empathetic guy, and I've been around the world, and I've seen a lot of suffering. So, and I'm also a technocrat. I'm a physicist. I know we live in a world of abundance, not one of deposition and depression. Those are all illusions. As easy as being everyone hungry and at war, we could have everyone fed and happy and striving to ascend to their best self and understanding what their consciousness is about. But that would mean to empower everyone in that little group of the owners, and I mean little. I would say the controlling ownership is no more than 100 entities. And I don't call them human beings, they're entities. And they know the only way, if you want to give them any description, the insectoids are the ones who are in the ownership class. Now, they haven't been in the ownership class forever, probably the last, I don't know, million years. But there have been other folk who've held that same position. Gotta go. Well, Fletch, I hope you can make it tonight to the birthday party. Should be really fun. For making money. Yes, I've done that. That's a good one to do. Maybe I'll hitchhike to where you are, Fletch, and just hang with you. So that's how you spell Bowie. Okay. What time? 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, my time. And again, I'll start off the first 15 minutes to half an hour waiting for the crew to come, and then we'll go into state, and we're going to go to Shambhala and see all the ascended masters, and Bowie's part of that crew, and all of the great ascended musical masters will be, and that's Shambhala. It's kind of this is over here, these guys over there. It's like living in a big apartment house. Oh, you're in Texas. Well, I can get to you without having to have a, what are those things that when you go to foreign countries? Anyway, it's not far away. So 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and, by 7:30 or so, we should be on our way to the birthday party. And as it gets more and more fun, we're going to go, there's a doorway that goes from, Shambhala to the old crone's coat closet. And so we're going to go to her, and she has a big music hall in her farmhouse. And every time we play music or bring musicians there or put the stereo on, it was the best dance hall. Passport, yep. I don't need a passport to come visit you, Fletch. So, if my car can stick together, I can have more than $200 at a time. And you say, yes, come and visit me, Sensei Albob. I'll do it. What part of Texas are you in, Fletch? Are you in the fun part or the oil drone part? I actually like Texas. When I first went there, it was nothing like I thought it was going to be. It was actually way nicer. What's the hipster town? Austin? I was there in the 70s, and it was early 70s and 80s, and a little bit of the 90s. for about a couple months each time, thinking about, but I had other stuff to do. But maybe, so has Austin totally hipped out? Is it totally gentrified? Is it north of, well, that's a nice neck of the woods. I would say that's probably more interesting than even Austin is. I love those little neck of the woods. Grows in Bacon, Texas, yeah. Maybe we should go get executive jobs at Exxon. Turn them around a little bit. Kind of like that comic thing where those two aging comic boys went and worked at Google. Still cool. Okay. Well, think about it, Fletch. You might have a guest on. Do you have a guest room, or a long enough couch, or because I'm really getting tired of the winter here and just everything that I have, the same old, same old, same old, same. I mean, the one thing that isn't the same is talking to you guys. That's why I do this twice a day. I come to the library. Well, okay, so we've been doing this for 46 minutes, and Fletch hasn't gone yet. Anything that anyone has to say before I go? Again, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. Try to get your friends, hey, you got to watch this channel, Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. Anybody wants to send me anything by Western Union, Al, Martino, send the tracking number to my Gmail, the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. Anybody wants to send me anything in my P.O. Box 1165, Vinton, Virginia, 24179. And that little town is on the other side of the county from me, from where the school is, so I don't go there, like maybe 3 or 4 times a month. And it's so, when I was there, it was a trailer trash town, and it was like the United Nations of Hispanic and Asian folk. And now it's turned into a hipster jungle, and all the great little Mexican restaurants. I mean, there was some, Angelo's was just the best Mexican food in America, even in Texas. And plus he was from Central Mountains, Mexico. And his moles were like, whoa. And there were some great Asian restaurants and some great Hispanic stores. And they're all gone. It's now hipstered out. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to traveling with you guys. I mean, we are traveling now through the Akashic Record, but I mean, on the road, having fun with people like I did today, opening a whole bunch of people's heads like I did yesterday, being in the Firestone gas station, having 20 people hold hands and getting them to all astrally elevate themselves until the Firestone was kind of hovering over the little strip mall, So we have things to do, fun to have, and don't worry about all of the fear being mongered. If it hasn't happened already, it's not going to happen, especially since we've started doing this. Not going to happen. Okay, love you guys. I'll see you tonight, 7 p.m. at Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. Okie dokie. Anybody want to get a hold of me between now and then? Give me a little jangle at the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. Love you guys. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to wait for 49, 49, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. Good night. See ya. Say good night.